that shit of doubt hanging around got old. 'Cause darling, there was nothing right when all you seem to do is lie. Those days are gone, I'm walking tall while you're alone. When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things you took from me, I know that I am so much better. I'm better off. When I look at what I've done now that we're apart, when I look at what I've won, I've come so far. I know I'm so much better off. And baby, you don't belong. Your love was cold, heart made of stone. I'm just fine, I'm gonna shine. I'm alright. I'm celebrating my liberation. I'm moving strong, I'll get it done. I'm might be shaken but not stirred. Just a lesson that I've learned. And so it goes, tables turn, and you're on your own. When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things you took from me, I know that I am so much better. I'm better off. When I look at what I've done now that we're apart, when I look at what I've won, I've come so far. I know I'm so much better off. Put your pinkies up now, up now, up. Live well to the extreme now. Put your pinkies up now, up now, up.
Hey, it's Pinky. You're on the Pink Pill YouTube channel. Be a love and like, share, and subscribe. Pinky's up.
Pinkies up, pinkies up. Hello, 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 and happy Monday, Pinkies. I have a very special treat for you guys today. I have with me a young lady who reached out to me via email. She's working on a project. She is a young Black female filmmaker. Say that 3 times fast. Young Black female filmmaker who is working on a project that I think is going to be quite intriguing for us. She reached out to me a couple of weeks ago, told me a little bit about what she was doing. I don't want to give it away. She is here in the building, but I wanted you guys to get a little bit of knowledge about what she is, what her background, what is she's trying to do. And we're going to have some call-ins later and talk about hypergamy. We're going to talk about how you've been inspired to be more hypergamous and what really drove you. So I'm very excited for this. I am going to now bring into the room Miss Lande, and I know I'm going to pronounce the last name wrong. Is it Yoosuf?
Yoosuf.
Yoosuf. Okay, I got to figure out
Yeah.
how I can remember that. Yoosuf.
All good, all good. If you forget, just ask again.
Lande, you look lovely, lovely, lovely.
Thank you.
Let's just first start with you telling me a little bit about who you are and your background, and yeah, let's go from there.
Sure. So yeah, my name's Lande. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in like a working class area known as Flatbush. My parents are from Nigeria. They immigrated to the U.S. in the 1970s. So I had the typical like child of African immigrants backgrounds. Went to school. Education was heavily emphasized. Studied TV and radio, and I worked in the television industry and mainly reality TV for about 10 years.
Oh, wow. Reality TV.
Yeah. In casting and development.
What shows? Just curious.
Mm-hmm.
There's an echo, too. There's an echo. I don't know if you have it.
Oh, really? On my end?
On your end, yeah.
Okay. Let me try to take my headphones out and see if that works.
That might be it. The headphones might be the problem.
Is it better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. I worked on various shows. I worked at MTV for a while in their development department. One of the biggest shows I've worked on was 16 and Pregnant. And then, I worked, and I got to a place where I was like, all right, Lande, what are you doing with your life? Like, this is not what your calling is. You're here to tell stories. You're passionate about Black people, particularly Black women, like find a way to integrate the skills that you've acquired through this industry with your desire to do that. So around 2017, I wrote and directed my first short film, and it's called Privilege Unhinged. And that was a dark comedy about racism and privilege in the workplace. Then I did another project about a Nigerian American bride confronting her mother about being too controlling with planning her wedding. And then she finds out essentially that her father has another family. So they have to go to Nigeria to confront him. And my goal with that film in particular is to address how patriarchy impacts the relationships between mothers and daughters, especially in the Black community. So I'm working on a feature-length version of that. I'm also the co-founder of a collective for Black filmmakers. It's called Black Film Space. And to kind of bring us back to the topic at hand, the reason why I was like, I want to make this documentary is because I just look at my circle of friends. I look at all the Black women I know in my family. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why so many of us should be single and struggling with dating. And the recurring theme that always tends to come up is that they're dating these guys who don't feel established. So it basically spirals whatever potential the relationship has. And, you know, I'm a YouTube junkie, so I started scouring through various channels, found your channel, I found Chrissy, I found Shira. Shira's off the hook, brother.
I know. I told you she was on
She's
my
something else.
today. She
No, she's definitely it's definitely intriguing. And some other ladies, and I was like, wow, this idea of, and Chloe was another one. And I was like, wow, this idea of hypergamy is really interesting,
Mhm.
especially for Black women who look like me, who don't fit into this Eurocentric aesthetic, right?
Mhm.
And the way that we've been navigating dating hasn't been the most strategic. So
Mhm.
then I thought about my parents, you know, and, you know, my parents had a hypergamous marriage, but because of the culture that they grew up in, my mom had to do everything, right? Like she cooked, she cleaned, she essentially raised my brother and I the majority of time. And that's what was demonstrated to me in my family. And most of my moms and aunties are so burnt out and they don't really have time to take care of themselves. You know, if I ask them, like, what do you like to do? I'm not sure most of them would be able to even answer that question.
Wow.
And I think that that needs to be addressed. And I was like, you know, I love the space that YouTube has created for Black women. And I was like, why don't we look at this from a more theoretical, larger scope? Because I don't think enough Black women know about this movement that's happening and bubbling. Like, and it needs to get out there because when I think about a lot of the women that I know that, not always, but generally that are happiest, they're in hypergamous relationships. They are.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
yeah.
I've been teaching it for a long time, and my motto is, and everybody knows this: you get the best man for the job. And um, if you especially are planning to have children, if you are wanting to, you know, to have some time to heal, to bond with your child, to do all the mommy things without having to 6 weeks after you have your baby, stick them in daycare and then go back to work because you know your husband needs his boat, or you know whatever, or you not even your husband. I mean, we've got a 72% out of wedlock rate within the Black communities. Your boyfriend, you know, whatever it is. And the problem that Black women have had are historically the messages that we have been taught about hypergamy and been shamed into it. And we're a different generation. So from your perspective, why do you think that so you're doing this documentary? It's called the Hypergamy Project. Why do you think, just in your own experiences, why do you think Black women have been sort of seems to be like rediscovering this? You know, something that is ages old, millennia old, what every woman of every civilization has ever done. Why do you suppose Black women are slow to catch up with that?
It's kind of like what we discussed on the phone. You know, I think that Black women, especially Black women who have more my physical aesthetic, um, they tend to find value in what they can do for others. It's always kind of like this external demonstration of approval. That's why we wear like, oh, we saved the day as a badge of honor. But where's the lens and focus on ourselves, right? And then a
Yeah.
lot of times we speak about oppression in the Black community. There's not like there's an emphasis on Black women, but not to the degree that there is on Black men, right? And like even when I was
I
talking
would argue
to a
there is very little. I think there is minimal to nominal
I agree.
emphasis.
You know, because I was talking to a male peer of mine. He's like, oh, well, if you're going to make this documentary, you got to think about our history. And I'm like, well, what about Black women's history? What about what Black women went through? Crystal. And I was like, you know, Black women were enslaved and underwent segregation and colonialism and all these other like forms of oppression right along with you guys. Like,
Hmm.
does that mean that we should settle in love? You know? And then I also think like, in my experience when dating guys who were not as successful with me, especially those that were raised in the US, regardless of ethnic background, because I've dated Black men that like those are men that have pursued me romantically.
Hmm.
I always felt like I was in competition with them. I always felt like they felt threatened by me. I always felt
Hmm.
like I had to calm down
Yeah, you had to
in order
shrink.
Yeah, in order for them to feel like they could be valued in the relationship. And right now, my boyfriend, he's Nigerian, born and raised in Nigeria, and I see a huge difference. Not to say that Nigerian men are better, because they have their own issues, but I see a huge difference in the way that he approaches expressing his masculinity. Right? Like, I brought my friend and my cousin with me on all of our dates when I was out there, and he paid for everybody, food and drink. Like, I was like, I didn't have to think about the bill. I didn't have to think about anything, holding the doors open for me, super protective. If a guy came over, like, he was like, all right, what do you want? And pursued me. I didn't have to call him. He contacts me every day, and it's like, how are you? What do you need? What can I do for you? Like, that is what we deserve. And I think that we keep operating in this space of, oh, he texted me and I didn't hear back. What does this mean? It means that he doesn't want to fuck with you and you need to move on. And he's not what you should be dealing with. You need to be with somebody who pursues you. And that means, and that includes materially, because that's a demonstration of leadership.
Yes.
I think that, when Black women say these things, people assume that we're being gold diggers, but no, you need someone who's going to demonstrate leadership capabilities in the household.
Absolutely.
And like you said, like, I know that eventually I want to have kids and I want to be able to take a year and a half off and be with my child so that they know their mom. So that means that I need to be with somebody who could carry the household, like, just pragmatically speaking, And I feel like we don't think about these things. We're told to kind of like prioritize only love, but marriage is like determined through a myriad of factors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, just thinking about all of these things. And then I was talking to my cousin. She's my age. I'm in my mid-30s. She was like, oh, my God, I found out about this hypergamy shit. I'm on it. And, we're New Yorkers. So our energy is like already perceived as hard. So this is like a total rewiring for us, not only in terms of thought, but even in our disposition as East Coasters from Brooklyn, from the inner city, who had to be tough in order to get by,
Yes.
So there's so much that she and we were on the phone for like 2 hours just talking about this. And she was like, I never realized that the disparity in gender roles was what was the issue in my relationship. I wasn't consciously aware of that until I started to consume this content. I was like, yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
Same
enlightening. We also talked about 50-50, and you said that you were operating under an assumption for a long time that was how it was supposed to be, 50-50.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
I will never do that shit again. Pardon my language. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I understand. You're like a millennial, right? Millennials be dropping tech bombs all over the place. It's okay.
But even when I agreed to it, there was this gnawing feeling in the back of my mind, like, why are you doing this? Why are you paying for this? Why? Like, literally, and I was fighting myself.
So would you look at the side? Would you? Because I've seen this before. Like, I was out at some junior league horse racing event. It was like a very hoity-toity, like it was in a very rich part of San Diego. And I saw this woman, and she was with like this very like hunky looking guy, and she was at the bar and she was buying them drinks. I mean, they were buying drinks, and then she took out her credit card, and I was just looking at it like, how when dogs just they don't know what they're looking at, they don't know what they're hearing, they cock their head like this, the ears perk up, and they're just like, what am I seeing? It's just so weird. I mean, it's like it wasn't that big a deal. Like, it was shameful when I was dating. Like, it was like, ooh, unless you're like in college and you guys are both, I don't know. I mean, but it was just when I was, the brief time I was dating before I had a baby and got married, it was shameful. Like, men were like digging into couches and trying to find quarters and dollars and asking one girlfriend to pay for another girl. Like, it just was not done. And so I just kind of cocked my head a little bit. Like, how do you feel Like in the moment, how do you feel when you like opening up your wallet to pay for Ruth Chris Steakhouse or something?
I knew that it wasn't right. And I did it anyway because I thought that I was being materialistic. I
Who
thought
told you
that
that? Who taught you that? Who made you believe
other women, other Black women. You know, they were like, Lande, you can't do that. You know, our men are under a lot of pressure. Or, you know, they would say, you know, money isn't everything. You know, it's about how the guy treats you. No, I mean, but this is what people think, right? And look, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I think that for Black women who want a particular lifestyle, and I am one of those people, we should not do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a commentary. There's a commentary that I have that I think intimidates people in terms of what I do and why I think I get a lot of flack when I talk about hypergamy. It's because while I'm not good, I was never good at math in high school. I do know how to add and subtract and multiply and divide. And I know that there is a disparity between marriageable Black men um, and marriageable Black women in this country by 2 million. I also know that Black men who make $100,000, while other men of other races have a higher frequency of marrying once they reach that threshold, Black men actually work in reverse. They marry less. And when they are high achievers and they are better educated, they intermarry at 24% or more than that. No, actually, Black men in general marry at 24% interracially.
Yeah,
The
I'm sure it's
more
high.
money they make, that stat goes higher and higher. I had Ralph Richard Banks on here a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about this very thing. And I said, well, why do you suppose that is? And he was like, well, for Black men, it's like, Black women are so invested in being with Black men. It's like, there's so many choices. It's like, well, why close up shop when business is so good? And it just is, there's a leverage imbalance that happens, and it really hampers our ability to be hypergamous. And so I say, listen, if you want to be hypergamous, you need to just open it all up. You have to.
Right.
The numbers just are not in your favor. Like you will be playing Hunger Games Black Love Edition. You've done reality shows. I bet that could be a reality show.
That's funny.
I mean, can you imagine? It's like you have
But
these
yeah, no.
beautiful, accomplished Black women, and with like, you got 20 Black women and like, I don't know, 16, 15 Black guys. And you like, and somebody's, not everybody's gonna make it. And so you try to figure out,
Right.
and it's just this imbalance. So when there is an imbalance of power, it makes it more difficult to practice hypergamy. And so it's like, I struggle with women who want to teach hypergamy, and I think that's great, but then they don't want to take the logical next step. And that logical next step is you're going to have to open up your options so that you can have the numbers in order to negotiate, because this is a negotiation. So when you have these conversations with your Black girlfriends, do you guys ever talk about the numbers? Do you ever talk about like, how can we really do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny you say that because one of my producers that's working with me, she's Black. We have the same kind of look, dark skin, Black woman, first generation American. She married a white guy. And we were talking about it, and I was like, when you look at the numbers, like statistically, you're gonna have to. Even if let's say you are adamant about dating only Black men, right? You're gonna have to date out of your ethnic group. You're gonna have to date internationally. You're gonna have to go overseas, which is essentially what I'm doing right now, right? So,
and you got to
like
get a rich one. I mean, like you date overseas, like, but how many? So you're talking about countries that are significantly poorer than the United States. So it's not even
Right.
just that you look internationally. You got to look for like the top five richest families in these places. You know what I mean? So I
Or
don't know
go
if
to
that's
like,
actually I don't actually think that that's a bad idea, because I think that you can leverage your American status to sort of get
mhm,
to the front of the line. So, I mean, if we're trying to use all of the assets
our
and
competitive
whatever
advantage. Yeah.
advantages we have, so it's like if you are going to date internationally black men, your American status actually may help you if you're not trying to like help somebody get their green card and they lying about like how many rubles and whatever kind of currency they have, because you don't be like, I'm a
Right.
billionaire in this small little country. Okay, but what's the currency when you transfer it over here? What
Mhm,
is the currency? Is it
exactly.
$5?
But no, but I agree with you. There is a lot of poverty abroad, but there are a lot of men. Like, I've met men who are black who travel the world, businessmen, and
Yes.
we dated, and we've gotten to know each other. So that was another thing that I was open to. And some people are like, oh, that's not practical. Why are you in a long distance relationship? I'm like, whatever. Like, I ain't listening to y'all. Most of y'all can't find nobody anyway. So I mean, if we're not going to be creative about dating, then
Exactly. You have to stop, like, if you really want to truly be hypergamous, you have to stop putting the barriers in your own way. And I think
see
a
what else
lot
is
of
out
times we put the barriers, oh, I can't do that, or long distance is too much, or I can't date somebody, who looks like this. I can't date somebody who is this old or this young or whatever. And so I think that because of the situation that we're in, we need to take some lessons from women of other races who have had challenges, maybe not in terms of numbers, but they've had challenges with um, their they are under a more uh, oppressive patriarchy than
there.
we
Right.
do. And they're just like, they're not arguing, they're not on YouTube, they're not trying to negotiate, they're not trying to beg their men to please be nicer to them. They're just leaving. They're just leaving. Like, Asian women are the goats of just silently leaving and just doing their thing.
And I want to look at this and examine this in this film.
Mm-hmm.
What advantages does hypergamy have for Black women? What results have Black women had once taking this approach to dating and romance? And then obviously, I want like I guess you could say the scholars and activists to also chime in as well. Because I think it's important to get their point of view too, right? Like, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these Black women who have sacrificed their lives for the betterment of the community, right? Like, was it a
Mm-hmm.
worthwhile endeavor for them to do that
Mm-hmm.
at the
Yeah.
expense of romance and family and children? These are all things that we have to think about. And I just noticed that a lot of the time when I hear Black women proclaim pride about who we are, it is generally in relation to how we serve other people.
Right. I was just talking about this on a show yesterday. We there's this Everybody wants to feel recognized. Everybody wants to feel special for something. And so
Yeah.
for Black women, how are we rewarded? We are rewarded because we fight for other people, we sacrifice ourselves, we do all of these things for other people. And so if we can't be rewarded for being pretty, or meeting the ideal
Right.
beauty standard, if we can't be rewarded for our education, if we can't be rewarded for how we valiantly raise all these kids by ourselves, if we can't be rewarded for our femininity, which people say, that bastardize it and say that we are not feminine. If all of if people are mocking us, and you've got music, a whole music industry that is financed on the backs of Black women, insulting them, what are you rewarded for? So you're going to go within your narrow scope, you're going to do and
Absolutely.
go where you're celebrated the most. And so I
Absolutely.
think that's why so many Black women do that, because that's the only thing that they can get love and appreciation for, even if it's superficial, even if it's fleeting.
I agree with you entirely. And I think that we have to rediscover what makes us special beyond that.
Yes. Yes.
You know, because there's a lot of things that make us amazing. And, you know, when you're socialized and trained to respond to, you know, yourself in this way, how is dating going to be healthy? Right?
Yeah,
How are
exactly.
you going to approach dating from a healthy point of view, from a place of feeling worthy?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So let's not even talk about hypergamy, just feeling worthy in general.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
hypergamy is not even going to come up, or you're going to just scoff at it, at
Mm-hmm.
the idea that you could get that.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. Well, and that's one thing about social media, and why I'm really excited about this, is because it really didn't, you felt something. You felt something was wrong, but it really was social media that confirmed your feeling. And so while social media is a double-edged sword, it is absolutely essential. It is why I stay on social media, despite what a headache it can be sometimes, because it really is important. It really is changing the minds and culture and thought process of Black women in a way that it has never done before in history ever. I think we're going to see a major revolutionary change in
I
the
agree.
way Black women view themselves, view relationships, and view what their options are, and what then starting to process and reassess what it is that they think their responsibility as Black women should be.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree with you. You're like singing to me right now. And I can't wait to have a daughter and teach her
Yes.
this
Mm-hmm. Yes. I
and
have
show her the
3,
game,
so
because nobody told me anything. I went in blind. And I
right.
listened to my friends who also didn't know what the hell they were doing either. You know, we were all just kind of trying to figure this out. And now at 30 something years old, I'm like, oh, wow, that's what's happening. You know, and
Yes.
I remember this conversation vividly. One of my close friends, she's Jamaican American. And we were talking, it was a group of us, and we were talking about like splitting the bill and all of that. And I said, I'm never doing it again. I'm done. It was like the last, like a few guys I've dated ago. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my friend was like, no, you should, you know, I mean, it's not that serious. I'm like, no, it sets the tone for everything.
Yes.
And my friend was like, I'm not paying for shit. He better not ask me, because I'm going to walk out like she did it.
I love it.
And, you know, this woman is like a praying mantis. Like, she has men on her like fleas. Like, and I always wondered why. And it's because she knew her worth going in.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I will never put out my wallet to pay for anything, because that's not my job.
Right. Right.
And I bring other things to the table. And if a guy can't recognize that when I date him, I don't want to be with him, period. And, you know, she always used to say these things to me. Even my brother, I mean, you know, I have some thoughts about his views about women. I don't want to call my brother out. You know, we have a good relationship right now. But, you know, he always used to say to me, because I used to tell him like, oh, you know, I keep meeting these guys who want to split the bill. He was like, don't let these broke niggas take you anywhere. Like, you're lying.
Oh my God, I
He was
love
like, when
you.
a guy likes you, he's going to find the money.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they will. Like I said, in my day, you know, back when horses and, you know, were driving carriages, these dudes would be digging in the couch looking for money, going through the dryer to see if they left $5, $10 in their pockets from when they walk. I mean, they will find the money. They will find the money. Mm-hmm.
It's true. And my brother shows me that when we go out. He pays all the time. I'm not dating my brother, but he's showing me this is what you need to expect when you date.
Yes.
You know, my cousins, same thing. They pay for everything. And I agree with it. And I see how comfortable I feel and how much more confident the guy is when he feels like he can provide, he can protect, he can look out for the woman in his life.
They want that. They really do.
But they're lying to themselves. When men don't feel like they can build or establish anything that we can invest our time and energy in, they don't feel good about themselves. And I see the difference in the way that the men respond to me when they're not established, or when they can't wrestle with what to do with, you know, not feeling established, or feeling like they have a a sense of lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean they want to feel that way. At least normal men do. And when you don't allow for them to be in that role, they resent you. You know,
They do.
they may like for a while go along with it, but they resent you because they know they deep in their hearts they feel like a loser. They do. They feel
Yeah,
like losers. But
it's
there
true.
will be some men that will be who will have a totally opposing view of this. Are you
Yes.
prepared to entertain their opinions on this project?
I don't know if I really care.
My girl.
I'm serious. Because I mean, I'm also saying this presumptively, right? Because I've never had any sort of social media backlash. But I
Well,
think
get ready,
that
hon. Hold on, buckle up.
I know,
Come on, let's all
I
say a
know, and
prayer for Lande right now. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, please put a circle of protection around Lande because she has
yes,
no idea what she's about to get
no, I know how risky this is. I'm clear, but
into.
if
Okay.
it wasn't going to be me, it had to be somebody who made this project.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I consider this film a love letter to Black women.
Oh, I love that.
That's my emphasis and my focus, right? And
Yes.
I'm not here to polarize or anything. I want to focus on our story, our needs, and the things that we want.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's offended, I mean, what can you do?
Exactly.
If I made a film in the opposite direction, I get backlash. So
Right.
it's like, you
Oh my
can't please
God,
everyone.
girl. I would be like, girl, why? Why? I mean, and speaking of that, there is this move, there is this energy, there is this juggernaut of Black women who are, waking up and saying, okay, all right, I see the utility of this. What's surprising to me is that there are now women who are joining in the cacophony of men who are saying that we don't deserve it, and particularly Black women don't deserve it. So it's very interesting the opposition that you may become against. But honey, you have come to the right place. All right,
Thank you.
your auntie got you. Your auntie got you, and all your new little cousins
That's
got
right.
you here too. And so
Thank you.
tell people what it is that you're doing. I have the information in the description box. Like, what do you need? What do you need from us? How can we help you? You guys, this is all for us. This is going to put our issues on a global stage. And we need to plug in and support. We always talk about how we need Black women that look like Lande to tell our stories. So here she is. Here she is. I don't want you guys to give me any more super chats. I want you to follow the link in the description box and go to her GoFundMe. But Lande, tell people a little bit about what you're trying to do so we can figure out how to best help you.
Absolutely. So essentially what I'm doing right now is doing outreach to social media platforms that promote hypergamy so that I can engage with women who support this cause to raise money. We've put together a budget and thought about, okay, to get the level of production value and the caliber of guests that we need, we got to spend $500K or something in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if it's 3, I'm going to make the movie anyway. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, and I'm going to focus on that within the first half to like 3/4 of 2021. And I plan on going into production the last quarter of this year. Okay. So what I need is basically, donations to help with funding for this film. I'm also pursuing producers and investors that could potentially help out. But in the meantime,
are there loans for things like this as well, or?
Well, I wouldn't take a loan out for this film right now. But I think what's best for me is to fundraise as much as I can because, sorry, thank you for actually asking me this. What I'm going to do is put together a 10-minute teaser and utilize that as proof of concept so that I can get additional funding from like an actual production house. If that doesn't work out, I would still at least have the other funding to use to make the film. But essentially what I'm doing right now is getting the word out to raise money and then also find collaborators AKA producers, which, you know, I've had Black women reach out to me already and say, hey, what do you need? Like, I'm
Right.
ready to help you, you know?
I want to
So
get you in touch with Chris Silber. I don't know if you saw him. He was on my channel last week. He is a German filmmaker, and he wrote and produced My Last Day Without You with Nicole Bahari. And
awesome.
he has a very soft heart for Black women. He's a widower. His wife was Black. He moved. He met her after a week after visiting from Germany, and he just decided to move here and marry her. She sadly died of cancer, but he's a filmmaker. He's got lots of connections. So let me put you in touch with him. I'm sure he won't mind, so that we could try to get this going. I think he'll be very, very excited to help you.
Thank you so much. Your support has been incredibly encouraging, because I've been nervous about this, and you know, I'm like, I don't know how people are going to respond. I know that there are Black women that agree with this, but like, how many people are really going to have my back? But every time I bring up this film, it generates discussion. So that to me is a great sign that this is a relevant, timely film. And the you know, I was kind of hemming and hawing initially, but when I saw that Kevin Samuels video, I said, no, we're making the movie. Fuck that.
Well, since you brought him up, what were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was horrible.
Yeah.
You know, like, you may not find her attractive, but that doesn't mean that someone else might not find her attractive.
Right.
What is with this like need to publicly humiliate Black women Like, what is this about?
Yeah, I mean, it is almost like, it is like a bloodlust, and it's like a gladiator. You know, every night it's like, give us more of, you know, feeding of humiliating of Black women, and it is just so people really like it, and it's not just other Black women will watch and say, "Whew, I'm glad it's not me," and they may feel in that moment special. There's men who have like a tremendous amount of anger towards Black women, and they want to see Black women humiliated. But there are other people of other races who are tuning in, watching it, because it's an easy target. It's like, you know, who is the weakest amongst us, so that we can use as the whipping person, and use them as the butt of all jokes without little to no repercussions for doing it. And Black women are in that position with the tactic approval of the community at large, who does little to nothing to say anything against it. In fact, they work to propagate it. They share it on their media sites. They big up it. They fund it through music, and it is a mess. And we Black women as a collective, we've become so numb to the amount of abuse and just the absolute passive, you know, it's not even benign neglect. It's malevolent neglect. That our image and likeness, that puts us in peril, that puts us in danger, that brings down our image. And so I'm very happy that you are taking this on, because I for one am very tired of Black women being the mule that everybody kicks for laughs, for shits and giggles. I'm done.
Same here. Our image needs to be upheld and heralded in the way that everyone else is.
Yeah.
And you know, I was in Clubhouse like a week or two ago, and I remember I think the name of the room was like, should Black women date brokies or something? Because this is starting to spread again internationally. Like, a lot of women in UK are talking about this.
Good.
A lot of women in Africa are talking about this. And these women primarily were in the UK. And, you know, some Black guy was like, oh, again, it's kind of like, oh, you have to consider what we've been through. And I said, you know, I feel like y'all use that to deflect on personal accountability. Like, Black women are completely aware of what you're up against. We're not asking you to make Bill Gates money, you know?
Right.
We're asking you to work within the framework of your resources and establish something like that. And I was like, I feel like you guys don't even think you can measure up to accomplishing that. And that's why you keep telling Black women to lower their standards. But the reality is,
they want to compete with us. Like, instead of competing with the men, they want to compete with us.
I was just about to, and I said, and I think that when we accomplish things, it kind of, it highlights your failures and the things that you haven't been able to get for the Black community. Because if you were in a real leadership position, we'd be working for you. right? We'd be your housewives while you're going out. Your
Mhm.
kids would be able to take over your businesses. You'd be trading with each other internationally. People, you'd be buying out businesses and corporations and franchising Black-owned businesses. Y'all have not been able to crack the code to figure that out yet. And you've got to.
Yeah. Or
You've
buy.
got to.
I mean, seriously, there's too much
Because
coddling.
otherwise we're both going to drown.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. So
you know,
I've got some people waiting here. I want to take a quick break, just a quick little commercial break here. I have some people on the line. I'm going to share the link again for folks who want to talk about what we're going. The question is, how has the hypergamy conversation? How did you discover hypergamy? What has been your journey? And do you think there's anything that you would like Lande to cover in this documentary? So that's what we're going to talk about. I'll share the link again, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we are back.
I got my notebook ready.
My light went out, but I think it's okay. My light went out, but I think I'm lit. You guys think I'm lit? Okay, you can see me. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start letting in some callers. This is on a separate device, so you guys just bear with me. And I'm going to start with Amari. Amari has been on hold the longest.
Hi, Amari.
Amari,
I'm seriously taking notes, so I want y'all to tell me what you want me to cover in this film.
Amari? I don't know why I cannot hear you. Amari? I got you on full blast. Let me make sure it's not the Bluetooth. Amari, I don't know why I can't hear you. And are you on mute? Let me see. All right. Amari, just hold on. I'm gonna try somebody else and see if it's a speaker problem on your end or my end, okay? Princess and Light, you're next. Hello. Okay, this must be a problem on my end.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want people to chat the questions?
You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, no, I actually want to try to see if I could get them to call in. So I'm gonna try to do Zoom on my phone here.
I'm
uh,
checking out the.
because I really want them to be able to call in. So you guys, I'm gonna have to switch it, because I'm gonna switch the link. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to cancel this current one right now. I'm gonna end this one, and I'm gonna put this one on my phone. For some reason, the sound is not going through. So
Okay.
let me just invite some folks. Let me put the link in the chat again. And I know my mic is working on here because I can see the little thing here. So just give me a second, girls. Okay, I just put the link in again. Okay. So the link is now in the chat. So you guys go ahead and call again. And we'll just do it from here. And I'll put it on my Bluetooth. Okay. All right, we're going to try this now. Karen? Karen? Okay, this is making me mad. I don't know why my sound is not working on this. Let me try something. Hello? Okay, I hear somebody. Karen? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I think it's a beautiful documentary that you're going to make.
Thank you.
Colin.
Do you have any questions about it? Are you yeah.
I think we can make suggestions. What I find lost on both communities is that I would like to know more about like history as far as Black women recreating sacred circles.
Sorry, say that again. History.
Yeah. It's my speaker. Say that again, Karen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I have one suggestion where I wanted to look more about like history as far as like a sacred circle with Black women. I feel like it's lost on us when it comes to a lot of races with other women. They have their own respectability when it comes to gender, where even like the men understand that they're supposed to stay out of their way as regards to like Black women, like almost like leveling it up and like being okay and being in that sacred circle.
So you're
Are
saying
you referring to like? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Crystal.
no, I was just saying, so are you saying just like Black women having sort of like a code where we put ourselves first type of thing?
Yeah. For example, because I came from a background with African spirituality, it would be interesting to know about the history with that with Black women, because we used to have groups where we would be okay with our own femininity and being a part of a sacred circle. And just knowing the history on why that's so lost with us with confidence and feeling like that we need to search outside.
Okay.
Well, in those spaces, you know, the guys have taken over. They're
Hello.
generally the authorities in those spaces, right? So, you know, I mean, I don't really
Hello.
hear much about women having rites of passage, even in African spirituality spaces, unless I like really push to hear more. So, but that's I do like that idea. Thank you. I'm writing it down.
Okay, so let's move on, and thank you, Karen. Nina, you're on, hun. Nina. All right, I'm gonna give you like 3, 2, 1, and then I'm gonna have to move on. Let's go with Naija Al-Mahi. I think I got that right. Naja. So I'm just like, you muted yourself, so unmute yourself, please. Hello. Okay, you gotta mute yourself. I can't unmute you. And Nina, if you're there, speak up or forever hold your peace. I'm going to have to just keep moving on.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. There's a delay.
Oh, okay. I don't know what to say, but what did you want to say about the project and about hypergamy in general?
Okay. Thanks for having me here, and I want to say thank you to Miss Lande for starting this. I think it's really amazing. And I think what I wanted to see was I guess more of the non-Black woman's also perspective on this, because I recently
Say
found
that again.
someone who kind of
Non-Black
also
women.
looks
She
at
wants
hypergamy,
non-Black
but in a
women
different.
perspective.
Oh yes,
Hmm.
absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm repeating because I don't know if Lande
Okay.
can hear you. So if I interrupt you, I'm not being rude. I'm just making sure that I'm relaying the points so that you guys can hear each other.
Okay. Hello? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you need to mute your YouTube though. Mute your YouTube.
My
You gotta
YouTube's muted.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with name dropping another content creator?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I think Miss Lande should check out the Universe Guru on YouTube. Her name is Mina Irfan. She has I think a really interesting perspective on hypergamy. It was from her that I learned that apparently there are biological reasons why women should be hypergamous versus dating for love, because that's not how women have been biologically programmed. They fall in love after they've been provided for by men who are madly in love with them. So I thought that was a very interesting perspective, and I think it would be really beneficial if you got her perspective as well, and maybe she can refer you to other non-Black women as well who have a similar perspective, because she sees the plight of Black women as well, and she's like, oh, I relate to it so much. She's like, I've been through it, I was able to overcome it, and I want to help other people. So that's what I'd like to share with you.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. I'm gonna check her out too. Okay,
Yeah.
we've got so many calls, so I'm gonna just keep going. Lady Joe.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Lady Joe.
Thank you.
Lady Joe, you're on. Lady Joe, say something. I hear something from you. You just gotta say hello or something. Don't be shy. Okay, Lady Joe, you just muted yourself again.
Okay, hello, I'm
Hi.
here.
Hi. Okay, Lady Joe. Hi. What did you have to
Great to
say?
be on the line right now. The focal point of what I would say in regards to hypergamy is the educational aspect. Just in dating and relationships, I find that with Black women increasingly having more degrees, that in previous dating experiences, the man may not even have a bachelor's degree at minimum. And on a practical level, when the man doesn't have a bachelor's degree, he might not qualify for jobs that'll have benefits, 401k, health insurance. And with this issue, it becomes a thing of safety and just access like if a man wants access to your physical body but doesn't have health insurance, then that could be a health and safety risk for you as well. So
Absolutely.
I think that aspect would be interesting in the film.
Thank you.
All
Great
right.
points.
Thank you, Lady Joe. That is very important. It is a safety issue. Let's go to Miss S.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss S. Come on, girl. In 3 and 2 and 1. Miss S says you're joining. Oh, wait. We have somebody named, I don't know if this is a man or a woman. Steward Motari. Steward, I'm letting you in now. Steward, you are on mute. Unmute yourself, please.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm a gentleman. I'm from Africa as well.
Okay. Hi, Steward.
So hi. I actually just was watching. I was on a red pill channel and I just saw pink pill and I was interested to know what going on. And
Okay.
from what I've listened to, yeah, the thing is, nobody has, even in the African traditional society, hypergamy was just the way it is. Women always have to like go higher up, and it's okay. The issue is usually that what do they have to offer for it? Like, let's say if I am a high value man, what will I get from getting a woman? What will you get me by you coming up to my status, but me going lower? But how am I benefiting from that? Like, that's usually the issue. Because most women nowadays think that having a degree, yeah, they cannot do simple things just like loving, just being there for the money. It's an
So, so
issue. They
I'm,
always just
so
want to argue and
I'm
all.
okay. I'm sorry, Stuart, to cut you off. So, my question is, so you're wondering, if you are a high value man who is lifting up a woman from one status to another, you're wondering what you get from that.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
All right.
Because
So, but like, how about kids? How about a legacy? How about your genealogy and your bloodline and your name being carried on after you're gone? How about the emotional capital that you get from a woman who supports you? How about a caretaker and a homemaker and a person who has the level of intelligence to assist you in your business, not to compete with you, but has the ability to increase your status in your
Yeah.
career, whether it's through entertaining, whether she does her own networking, whether she does the administration work so you don't have to pay somebody, or all of the things that women do to help. Are any of those things attractive to you?
yeah, absolutely. Like, I wish they did exist. Because honestly, I've
They
never
do.
seen this being
And a
honestly.
lot of
Like,
women. What?
right
I'm
now,
talking to two women who exist.
yeah.
We are not the Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, or Santa Claus.
There are
I'm
a
just
lot of
We
saying, like,
women out
exist.
here who have these.
right now,
You have plenty to
I'm
choose from.
located in
Plenty.
Adelaide, South Australia, and I can tell you, like, the number of black women here is limited, and like, we
Where are
know them
you?
being started.
Where are you that you're saying the number of black women? What? Where are you?
Adelaide in Australia,
Oh, you're in
South Australia,
Australia.
Adelaide. Yeah,
Oh,
so like, we know the black women are artists, and you know how they just behave. They just are. I don't know how I can tell it to you. You know, when if women were the way you were saying, I wish they were that way. No one would be having an issue with them. Like, we wouldn't even be forming any men's society. But the women today, they just absolutely are the opposite of that. But if women like you exist, I wish this pink
They
red pill can
do.
pick up real quick so that women know
okay.
exactly how to be women. Yeah.
So Stuart, what do you do? What is your profession?
Um, I don't have a profession. I just, let's just say I'm an entrepreneur, online entrepreneur, but I'm currently a student.
Okay, so hun, you can't expect to
Yeah.
find women like that if you don't have what this is a negotiation. And hun, you don't
Yeah.
have anything to negotiate with. So I think that when you're ready to negotiate because you have something to bring to the table, then maybe you can come and I can help you find um another unicorn like the two of us. But in the meantime, you're going to have to, I mean, this is a negotiation. You can't feel entitled to something that you are not prepared
Uh,
to entertain. So that's
yeah,
the only thing I would say.
absolutely.
Okay.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But I'm actually I'm 23 years of age,
Okay.
and the thing is, the
Just
women I'm dealing with,
get your
them as well,
situation
they don't
figured
have
out, and
anything
then
to offer me. So the thing is, I'm building myself up, and at the moment, I'm just looking for somebody who I'm not even looking. If I get somebody who is like there to help me or guide me, and we can build each other up. That's something else. I agree with what you're saying. I do know I can't get a unicorn like you at the moment, but for the future I will. But I'm just looking around. and I know these women, so it's not like they're gonna import more women to come here. If these are the same women, even if they change later on, they've been in everybody's houses doing shit. How the fuck am I supposed to like look to that woman
So
years
you
later and
so
say
okay,
it's the
okay.
same thing?
So Stuart, you're saying that by the time you're prepared, that all the women that are there now will be too sullied for you?
Yeah, because obviously I'm getting women no matter what. The thing is, like, I'm thinking these high value women, they've got to, like, the women around, like, you have to start somewhere, you know, that's what I'm saying. And the women in their 20s right now, all they're doing is like just being reckless. You know what I'm saying? They're just reckless. And they don't have emotional intelligence. They don't even have anything going for them except looking good. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
That's all they're focused on.
suppose that's true. So what I hear from you is that your expectations for maturity um, are, are different from for women than you have for yourself, because you are not yet mature in where you are able to choose the type of woman that you want, but you are expecting the women to be more mature and ready, marriage ready and ready to go, and not have any sort of process of maturation, and they are not entitled to the process of maturing and refining themselves in the same way that you are.
Yeah.
So oh, okay, Stuart. Thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem right there. Um,
Kudos to you for, you know, trying to walk him through that.
but you see, like the entitlement
Yeah, I know. I know.
of like you expecting, you know, a 23-year-old, your brain doesn't even fully develop until you're 25, and they're
Right.
expecting this fully functional and marriage ready woman when they themselves are not mature and ready and where they should be, but then expecting that woman be ready and then to not make any mistakes. I mean, we've all been 23, we've all been 22 and 21, and nobody wants to know what you did. I mean, it's like, for the grace of God, nobody, that Facebook and Twitter did not exist when I was that age. The point is that everybody needs an opportunity to grow, mature, refine, and discover themselves. And the thing about the problem that I have with red pill men is that they expect that women are supposed to be on some sort of purity, maturity track that they themselves are not on, and that they should somehow be more elevated and more expectations of them than they are themselves. So he wants these ready-made women, but he is yet not ready. So what do you say? What do you say to that, Lande?
I mean, that's the kind of guy I was dating before I finally snapped out of it. You know, that this is normalized in our community. That's what I'm saying. He's probably been to that a good woman is supposed to totally give of herself, right? And now we're trying, these platforms such as yours are trying to rewire women to say no. As the female counterparts, the feminine counterpart, you are the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
The man is supposed to demonstrate and assert.
Mm-hmm. Right. And in this case, it's reversed, because they want to receive before they are even prepared to give. So I think on this note, I'm going to end this because I gotta go. We've been over an hour. So I'm sorry, we got a lot of people. Maybe we have to come back to this, but I think it's a good note to end on, because this is an example of why what you're doing is so necessary.
Yeah.
It is so necessary.
Thank you so much.
And
I'm excited to make this project. I think it's going to have an impact, and I think it's going to generate a lot of needed discussion and help Black women kind of hone in on what doesn't feel right about, you know, love and dating and relationships. And by the way, I have seen women of other races experience this as well. Like, I've worked for a lot of white women who were burnt out and doing everything,
yes,
and angry over time and nasty, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because again they're not able to replenish their femininity.
Well, I think also a good thing to add is the evolution of it, because I was born in the 70s, and so homeworkers were on the way out. In the 80s and 90s, it was all about, you had movies like Working Girl, you had 9 to 5, and so it was all about, getting in the workforce, and women need men like fish need bicycles. And I remember that I bring this up a lot, the Anjali perfume commercial, where it was like, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan. And it's all about like all of these things she could do and still never let you forget you're a man. So it's like, you got to make the money, you got to kill the rabbit, you got to cook the rabbit. And then when you're exhausted, you better be ready for when he rolls over at 3:00 in the morning, so you don't let him forget he's a man. So it was these
Crazy.
messages like, we can do it all. And there was all of this, like, we can do it all. So we didn't just get here. You know what I mean? So this was not just like we woke up one day and we were here. Like, there's been this overextension of women can do it all. And then their daughters seeing this and like, I don't know, Ma. I don't know.
Right. Like, you're not happy. You're exhausted.
Exactly.
You are exhausted.
Exactly. So this is such an important project. So I have to ask you, we do the pinky two-step at the end of this. You can stay and do the little pinky two-step groove, and you can interact with the people in the chat. Make sure, I don't know, do you have the window open?
I have my phone.
Okay, so I'm sure there are people in the chat. I'm gonna do the pinky two-step while I try to address the people in the chat. My mic doesn't work when I put the music on, but we're just gonna be grooving while we talk to the ladies in the chat. Thank you guys
Your
for
whole
joining
music
us.
is amazing, by the way.
Okay, so where's our song? I always have the trouble finding the song because my eyes are so bad. My eyes are bad. Wait, hold on. Oh, so while I'm looking for it, where can people find you? I put it in the description box, but where can people find you on Instagram and Twitter?
So if you want to follow me directly, you can follow me at Lande Yoosuf. I'm sure it's spelled on the YouTube platform. It's literally my name on every platform, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. But I'm primarily on IG. And you can follow my project, the Hypergamy Project, exactly how it's spelled. And my production company is One Scribe Media, one spelled out, scribe as in writer, One Scribe Media. So, yeah.
All right, I found the song. You ready to do the pinky two-step and talk to the folks in the chat?
Do it.
Let's go.
Do it. I'm going to pull up my YouTube right now. Hey.
Hey.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna try to like. Oh, I can't really hear you.
Lande, thank you so much
Yes,
for being a good sport.
this was awesome. I had a great time. The music, your questions, your guests, you all are amazing. Thank you. This is a great
Yes,
discussion.
I know. That
I'm
was a
really excited to make this project. I
I'm so
am.
excited for you. We're going to have you back so we can see what your
Absolutely.
status is. I'm going to share
Yes.
this on all my socials. Everybody go over and support this project. As you can see and hear, it is very much needed. So
Yes.
thank you, sweetheart, for joining. And you guys, thank you, mods. Thank you, Pinkies, for joining me. I'm Crystal and Karazin. And what? You just took the pink pill. Pinkies up.
Bye, y'all.